You can see two circles right behind me. One of them being red and the other one being blue. Do they look the same size to you? Yeah, some careful nodding. What if I told you that one of them is actually bigger? Which one would you say that it is? Would you kindly raise your hand if you think that red is the bigger one? Show me some hands. Yeah? That's good. And how about blue one? Do you think that blue is bigger? Yeah, thank you. Well, you were right. Blue is actually bigger. Can you see the difference now that you know? Some careful nodding. That's great. You may have heard thousands of stories about equality. What it is and what it should be. How women and minorities are not represented enough in almost anywhere, and how we really should do something about it. We have come a long way, I have to admit. A lot of things are better now. For example, I get to vote. I mean, come on. But we still have to admit that there is a lot of things we can improve. We still do not have enough women in any decision-making positions. We still do not have enough minorities there either. And yet, we are so willing to talk about diversity. What we really should be talking about is why getting to those places takes a huge amount of work for those who are not expected to reach them. Because growing up in a world where your choices seem theoretically endless, but in practice are actually very limited, is really difficult. We are being told that everything is possible if you just work hard enough. But is it really? I think that I got dealt pretty good cards when I was born, or at least I thought so. You see, I was born half Finnish and half Turkish. Little did I know that apart from being a girl, I also had to convince people that my Turkish side is actually as good as my Finnish side. I have had really different career paths than what was expected of me. I am a diver, a politician, and a computer science student, and none of these came easy. I have always had to prove myself twice as hard, convince everyone around me that I actually am good enough and have to be taken seriously. When I first started working at the diving center, I remember very clearly that everyone assumed I was the one doing the office work. No one thought I would be working there as a diver. The same never happened to my male colleagues. They were always assumed to be instructors and so on, but never the ones doing the office work. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing office work, but we do have a problem if every time when we put together a man and a woman working at the diving center, man is always the one to be assumed to be the instructor and woman the one doing the office work. That is a bias we all should be aware of. And it's not just in the diving field. Take politics. The correct word for that profession is a politician, right? But for some reason, I always get referred as a female politician. Like the normal state of being a politician would be male and everything else just needs a different title. I remember when I first decided to run for the city council, I was terrified. I really was. It was not an easy decision. I knew I would be putting myself up for public discussion. which I later actually realized that I was quite fine with because I do like to argue with people. But what I wasn't fine with was the realization that people wouldn't actually want to argue anything politics related with me. Rather than discuss, was I a good politician because of my gender, my age, or my background? I remember very clearly the very first comment I got on my just published Facebook page a few years ago. It was from an older man who wrote, "You are a really pretty girl, but a politician? I don't think so." Well, I stared at that comment for a really long time, not really knowing what to say. Because, yes, I was, and I still am a woman, and yes, I would also like to think that I am pretty in someone's eyes. But why would these qualities make me a bad politician? Do they cancel each other out? Can someone not be pretty, a girl, and a politician at the same time? Of course you can. Your ability to do something has nothing to do with your gender, your looks, or your background. And still, everyone acts like it does. Now, some might argue that, come on, one comment here or there does not represent the whole society's opinion. They would be right. It does not. But what you don't see is that we struggle with these kinds of comments for our whole lives. We just tell you the ones you might be interested in, not the whole story. Nobody has the time to sit here for a year and listen to me going on and on about all the not so encouraging comments I've been hearing for my whole life. And to be honest, no one even should have to tell you their whole story. What you should do is believe us. Believe us when we tell you that it happened. For example, did you know that when I first got accepted into computer sciences, one of the first ones to congratulate me said, "Oh, that is really good for a girl." And I thought, for a girl? Really? I mean, I assumed it was good for, about anyone. We are so used to seeing certain stereotypes about certain professions that we do not even question it anymore. Don't believe me? Let's take a tour in our childhood. Now, probably almost everyone remembers learning a new language as a child because we do have that privilege here in Finland. In those language books, was every doctor not a man? Every nurse a woman? You might say that, come on, that was a long time ago, 20 years or something. I did think so too. I mean, we are living in 2019. No one thinks professions should be presented that way anymore, right? Well, I recently started taking French. Oui. And for my surprise, when we got to professions, every doctor in that book was a man again. So I have to ask myself, if we constantly keep talking about improving equality, but actually do nothing about it, are we really moving forwards? Or are we moving backwards? And it's not just books. Take a look around you. Not just here today, but every day when you are walking down the street, listening to your class, doing your job, or maybe watching commercials. What do they tell us? Is there always a little girl playing house, maybe a boy playing with the cars? Is there a series where the main character is a doctor played by a white man, while nurses are women or people of color? We each are our own individuals, but we cannot deny that the society around us does affect the way we think or act. For some, that might be by choice, that's true. But too many of us are not aware of their hidden stereotypical thoughts. We just keep doing what we have seen other people do around us for our whole lives. We have grown up in a certain world, so we cannot think that something different than that might even be possible. We have to ask ourselves, is it possible for you to imagine yourself in a certain position if you have never seen anyone like you doing it before? Is there a real possibility for us to choose the lives that we want to live, or do we keep seeing stereotypes all around us? It is not just that we should treat people equally when we have grown up, but we should start treating people equally while we are growing up. And for that to happen, we need to see good examples around us. We need to see ourselves represented in politics, in media, in everyday life. This is the only way you can truly create an atmosphere where you can really be anything you want to be. It is not going to be easy. I'm not going to lie. We are going to have to question ourselves every day. We are going to have to work really hard to change the way we think. In the end, it will be worth it. Because it really is our responsibility to make it happen. We cannot just tell women and minorities that you should dream bigger and then try to crush them from a very little age. How can we expect someone to believe that they are good enough if the whole world has been telling them otherwise for their whole lives? When you grow up thinking that your priority as a woman is to take care of your house, your family, pursue a career that is suitable for a woman, that limits your choices. That limits how you see the world and how you see your own role in this world. It took me a long time to get over these assumptions because here's the thing. We perceive the world as we see it. What we cannot see, we cannot imagine. Not unless someone helps us break those walls. All this might seem little to some of you, but believe me, it is not. Not to me. When I was growing up, I did not see anyone who looked like me in our parliament. I really don't know how long I've known that I wanted to do politics, but I remember there was a time when I thought that it wouldn't be possible because I assumed only people who had a Finnish name, Finnish looks, or 100% Finnish background would even be allowed to be candidates. And may I add, it really did not help that almost every politician was pictured as a man in a suit. Still is. But the same applies to computer sciences. I was so convinced that this field is only for men, and I had no business in there and would be really bad at it, even if I tried. Now, I want to get back to the circles for a moment. You remember the ones from the beginning, blue and the red one, in which blue was bigger. I lied. It is not. But the minute I told you that blue is bigger, even if you didn't think so at the first place, you started wondering. Is it? Didn't think so. Might be, she says. Now, imagine more than half of our society is being told that they, in fact, are the red circle, that they are smaller. Even though that's not true, they are not. They are equal. But when you grow up hearing that you, in fact, are small from everyone else around you, you start believing it yourself. And it affects you. That is why representation matters. We need to see people like us everywhere in our society, in our parliament, in media, especially in media. In every TV show or movie, we are used to seeing certain people in certain types of roles, and that must come to an end. I want to see diversity all around us. I want to have a parliament that looks like us, the people that it's supposed to be representing, not just a part of it. Because we really are capable of representing ourselves. To all the red circles out there, we are not small. No dream is big enough for us. It is time we take our places in this world, and I encourage every one of you to do your part to make that possible. We do not need anyone else trying to be our voice, the voice for the voiceless. We have our own voice, and it is damn time we start use it. Let's make this utopia real. Let's break those walls together. Thank you.